Good morning. How's everybody doing this week? I hope it's been a good week for y'all. I know we're getting really close to the end of the term, which is really exciting. So for this week, the topic I chose for my research assignment was looking into the Siege of Charleston of 1780 by the British. This battle was fought pretty close to the end of the conflict between the British and the Americans. The entire conflict came to an end about 1783. But after October 1781, the bulk of the fighting had stopped. So my paper is looking at the years leading up to the Siege of Charleston and just kind of analyzing this back and forth affair between the British and the Americans from 1775, 76, 77, and 78. And through it all, we see more often than not, it feels like when it really counts, the British are on their heels against the Americans. Yes, they won small skirmishes here and there, but there are very few really major wins that the British scored against the Americans. And so after 1778, with George Washington and company in retreat in Valley Forge for the winter, the British are reassessing their strategy, and they decide to really turn their attention toward the South. And so in 1779, they wound up moving down south and taking Savannah with relative ease. They moved in on Augusta, and they took Augusta. They attempted an invasion of Beaufort, only to be repelled back. And then eventually they decided to attack Charleston. They determined that the feasibility of taking Charleston was definitely favorable in terms of having access to trade goods, having access to a port to get supplies in from mainland Britain. And so they attacked a relatively undermanned Charleston with over 13,000 soldiers, and they took it no problem. So within a matter of weeks, Charleston had fallen, and just kind of analyzing how, yes, even though the war was coming to an end after 1781, this almost misplaced battle in Charleston, while it was a great rejuvenation for the British military, it would ultimately prove to be kind of a futile effort, just because the war was so close to coming to an end already. And perhaps if this war had happened sooner, when the British were stronger in number and had more supplies, they could have potentially taken a much better grasp on this battle. The overall revolution, that is. So that's kind of the direction I'm going with this paper. Some of the sources I have to help me here are Don Higginbottom's Some Reflections on the South and the American Revolution. I use Robert Middlecoff's textbook in The Glorious Cause of the American Revolution, the one that we're using for this class. I use Charles Royster's Valley Forge, found in A Revolutionary People at War, the Continental Army and American Character. And one other source I found really helpful was by Andrew Shankman. It is The American Revolution, and it is found in the Edinburgh Companion to the History of Democracy, From Prehistory to Future Possibilities. And I also have some sources that directly relate to the Siege of Charleston, because that is the focus of my paper. So some of those, just to name a couple: Benjamin Hoff, The Siege of Charleston by British Fleet and Army under the command of Admiral Arbuthnot and Sir Henry Clinton, which terminated with the surrender of that place on May 12th, 1780. That is from the American Antiquarian Society. And then I also have a couple of sources from George Fenwick Jones titled The 1780 Siege of Charleston as Experienced by a Hessian Officer. And that's actually in two parts, and I found that really helpful because the Hessians, or the Germans, were contracted by the British to help fight the war in North America. And so the numbers with the military were really high with the Hessians. So it was really interesting to find sources that kind of related to who the bulk of the fighting force was in North America. So that's where I went with this project, and I hope you guys like it, and I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Thank you.